It was an instant yes. I mean, I don't think I even said I'll get back to you. I just said yes straight away.
Mm.
It's something that really grabbed my attention. It was a story I felt I wanted to be a part of. You want people to see your work. You want people to see your film. Big Bull was scheduled to release in September. We'd announced the release date. I love Farah and Shah Rukh, and whatever they ask me to do, I'm more than willing to do. I'm
Right.
absolutely ready.
All right, so Abhishek, pleasure having you with us on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you, Faridoon. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much. I saw the promo of Breathe. It was it was simply brilliant
Oh,
from
thank
start
you.
to finish. It's extremely engaging. I've said this very few times in the last 3 months, maybe because we are watching a lot of OTT stuff right now. That um, it happens very few times that when you see a promo and you feel like watching the show or the film.
Right.
And Breathe 2 is one such show.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
And I'm very happy that we've seen your journey, and the way you have been presented, I think, is really nice.
Well,
You
that
look,
due has to go entirely to Mayank, my director. Yeah, he's wonderful.
yeah, but even you, I think you're looking lean. You're looking very fit, which is something that's presenting you in a very different light altogether.
You say that like you're surprised.
No, see, I'm saying from your last film, Manmarziyan, for example, you're looking
Uh-huh.
much different. You're looking much cooler and younger than what you did in
Yeah, that's
Manmarziyan.
because we've gotten rid of the beard. We've got
Yeah,
slightly longer hair. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
right. Yeah. So it's a completely different Abhishek Bachchan that we've seen it. Maybe I think in the longest possible time.
We try, Faridoon. We try.
So what was your first reaction when you were approached for Breathe 2?
My reaction was yes. It was as simple as that. When Vikram Malhotra, the producer from Abundancia, and Mayank narrated the basic idea and plot to me, it was an instant yes. I mean, I don't think I even said I'll get back to you. I just said yes straight away.
Mm.
It's something that really grabbed my attention. It was a story I felt I wanted to be a part of. I really enjoyed hearing it, and it's at times of that when you just instinctively know you should do and be part of a project.
All right. Now, the fact that there are no pressures of the Friday and the weekend, um, how much of a pressure is taken off when you're having a platform that does not put that pressure on you? That you have certain expectations are there for certain numbers, maybe in the
Hmm.
first 3 days. Does
I
that take
think
off any pressure?
yes and no,
Mm.
Faridun. At the end of the day, yes. In the short term, yes, your opening day and your opening weekend figures aren't of paramount importance, which they are in a
Mm.
theatrical release. But at the end of the day, in the long term, I think everybody's goal is the same. It's to try and entertain and reach out to as many people as possible.
Mm.
Um, a barometer of success is in cinema is box office, because that means so many people have gone to see your film. And I don't think that changes even for a web show.
Mm.
In a web series, you want the maximum amount of people to come see your show. You want them to remain with the show through the duration of it. So I think at the end of the day, the goal is the same. You want the maximum number of people to see your work.
Something about the writing part of it. What are your views on the writing?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Bhavani Iyer, Vikram Tulli, Arshad Saeed, and Mayank have all worked on this, on the scripting of it and the dialogues, and it was so detailed. It was detailed to the extent that it aided me to my job so much, because when you have a longer format, when you have a longer timeline through which you can convey what you need to convey. If I was making this as a theatrical release, I'd have probably 2.5 hours to be able to justify the entire story. Over here, you really get to work and flesh out a lot of details, because we have 12 episodes.
Mm.
So that for me was exciting, provided the writing supported that. If the writing was going to be very halka and people were not really going to deep dive into all the characters, then what's the point of it? And
Right.
I was so happy because the writers did such an immense job. They're the true heroes of this series. And just, I think they've just done such a great job. They've made my job so much easier because everything was, I mean, half of it is already written for you.
Mm.
So the writers are truly the heroes of this medium.
How do you look at a script when you're given? Do you read it from your point of view? Do you read it from the way it is sketched out, or do you also read it from an audience point of view as well?
Well, primarily, I like to hear a script. I prefer
Mm.
not to read it first.
Mm.
Because whether you like it or not as an actor, the minute you read a script, you're always going to read it from your perspective.
Mm.
I like to hear it from the director because then you get to hear how the director sees the script. And I think that is always more beneficial. And I'll prefer to look upon it as an entirety. I've never just looked upon it, ki mera kya kaam hai isme? I think that would be very myopic.
Mm.
It's better to see it as a whole because your audience is going to be seeing it as a whole.
Right. You have a lot of experience. You've had some really fine films. Some of the films maybe have not worked as well. Uh, do you feel that an audience, in a way, relates to the screenplay? They don't, maybe a lot of the people, they don't know that maybe this is what they're getting attracted to, because it is the way the story is unfolding, especially in something which is like a thriller sort of mold. That is something that they really connect to, and they don't know that what is it that keeping them hooked. While you're filming something like Breathe 2, for example, how much of a connectivity factor is there in your mind from a screenplay perspective?
Interesting question. I think somewhere, if in principle you've signed on to do something, you have to trust that instinct somewhere. I think you shouldn't keep second guessing all the time.
Mm.
If it worked for you the first time, then hold on to that. Because if you start super analyzing everything, you're always going to find some fault here or there or some question that's not answered. I think you should also, at some level, have a larger faith in what you signed up to do in the first place. The medium of an Amazon original series is that how do you keep your audience hooked and how do you keep them coming back to consume the other episodes as well? So the structure of the writing is such that at the end of the episode, you have to leave them with a cliffhanger that makes them want to carry on viewing the series.
Right.
So the writing is structured like that. Um, in cinema, I think I'm not a writer. I'm not um, qualified to speak on their behalf. But from whatever very basic and limited knowledge I have, um, you would pretty much keep it as a 2 or 3 act structure, at best a 4 act structure.
Mm.
At the end of that act, you have to have something that is going to push your screenplay on so that people are interested and invested in watching the next act, be it a play or film. This medium is no different. It's just that you have that many more acts. So we have
Mm.
12 episodes in Breathe. So you have 12 acts of, so to speak. So at the end of the first episode, you have to give them a hook, which is going to drive the screenplay forward onto the second episode and so on and so forth. So it is by and large a writer's medium. It is far more supportive of the writer than of the actors in that sense, because it is entirely up to them and it is something that is heavily dependent on them. In cinema, um, at times, initially, and when I say initially in the sense is in the initial days of the release, you can have the brand and the star power of your cast that gets your audience in and keeps them in. After that, it's the story is going to take over. In this medium, it's your writers that have to do it through and through, because it doesn't matter who your actors are. I mean, some of the biggest shows on OTT platforms are relatively unknown faces, fresh faces, new faces.
Right.
So at the end of the day, this is a platform where only the content works and nothing else. They have scant respect for the fact that you might be an actor who's been around for 20 years, done 66 films, success or whatever. It doesn't matter, because over here it's the content. Because if they don't like it, it's literally a millisecond. Press that one button, you're off. You're next. When you're in a cinema, it's a bit of a chore to get up and walk out of the cinema and go home.
Right.
Over here, it's at the click of a button. So it's that much more importance and weightage that's given to the written material.
So you're also having Big Bull, which is coming up pretty soon. So there's this entire debate around big screen and the small screen and the OTT platform. How do you look at it? The industry seems to be divided over there.
Who's having this debate?
A lot of people within the industry. So the cinema hall owners, they are insisting that.
Okay, if I may, and bear with
mm,
me, there
mm,
isn't a debate. There's people's opinions. You make it into a debate.
mm,
Okay, as you have to. That's part of the function of what the media does. I am not part of a debate. I'm an actor who's just happy that I'm getting an opportunity and a platform, be it a cinema hall, be it a streaming device, be it television, to showcase my work. At
mm,
the end of the day, what is the end product that you're looking for, Faridoon? You want people to see your work. You want
mm,
people to see your film. Now, whether they see it in a cinema hall, on their laptop, on their television screen, I'm just happy they're seeing my work. I don't necessarily have an opinion on this. Having said that, would we be indulging in this discussion if we weren't in the midst of a pandemic? I don't know. And I'm
mm.
not so sure whether these decisions would have been taken. A film of mine is coming on a streaming platform. I'm not the producer of that. So it's not correct for me to impose my wishes and wants on a financial decision which I am not bearing. Big Bull was scheduled to release in September. We'd announced the release date. There is no clarity as to when cinema halls are going to open up, as far as my knowledge goes. We don't know if September they're going to be open. We don't know when they're going to open, and when they open, what is the sequence that is going to be of the showcasing of films. There's going to
Right,
be a huge backlog.
right.
Keeping all these factors in mind, if a producer who's invested crores of rupees, in my case, Anand Pandit and Ajay Devgan, it's not correct for me to say, oh no, just hold on to it. Abhi, aap soch lijiye, say, heaven forbid, this condition continues for the next 24 months. Are people still going to be holding on to their films? Are we going to have to find a way through which a producer and an investor can see some light at the end of the tunnel? So this is a decision taken by the producers, and I will support that decision, because at the end of the day, I want the audience to see the work, and that's it. So I don't really have an opinion on this.
How do you look at your 20 years in the industry? I believe Sarkar has completed 15 years, another very fine film.
Oh, has it?
How do
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Sarkar
yeah,
released 15 years ago today.
yeah,
Yes. Wow.
right.
Yeah. Wow.
So how do you look at your journey?
Well, yesterday on the 30th of June, I completed 20 years in the film
Mm,
industry. Refugee released on the 30th of June, the year 2000. It was the debut film of Karina and myself. And it's very difficult to fathom that 20 years has gone by. It seems just gone in a jiffy. It's so fast. But it's been wonderful, you know. And I think if there's one overriding emotion, it has to be gratitude. Um, I'm so grateful that the audiences have given me an opportunity to entertain them. I've always said, you know, an actor is very lucky if they get to be a part of a film. It's a huge honor to be given the opportunity by the audience to do that for 20 years over 66 films. You have to be very grateful to them for their love, for their belief, for their support, for their acceptance. Um, and you have to work even harder, because you, I think, will realize that there's a very long way to go. There's so much more work to do, so much more to prove. But I'm so humbled and so thankful to all the audiences that have gone and seen my films, therefore enabling me to continue being an actor.
Okay, Javed Akhtar Saab has famously said that sense of humor is like shock absorbers that help in withstanding the speed breakers of life. In the last interview that we had for Man Marziya, Tapsi said that I've never seen AB like this without filters. And you had a blast at the expense of Anurag Kashyap, and it was the sense of humor is something that was simply amazing. How has been the what has been the importance of sense of humor in your life in terms of just withstanding the sort of pressures that you as an actor, as a person,
It's
have
very
faced?
important, Faridoon. I'm so
Mm,
glad you've brought this up. It's very important. I've never taken myself too seriously. I don't think you should take yourself too seriously. You
mm,
know, life is tough enough as it is. Learn to laugh at it. You know, learn to laugh at yourself and get on with it. Know what your goal is and try and achieve it. And you know, if you can do it smiling, and albeit at your expense at times, go for it, man. You know, it can't. Life can't be so serious after all.
This is Arya from Auckland. What kind of music do you like listening to the most? Any other talents besides acting?
Thank you, Arya. I like all kinds of music. I have a preferential leaning towards R&B and rap, but I like all kinds of music. I love Hindi film music. Um, I mean, anything that piques my interest, I'm into right now. I don't have a particular genre.
This is Ruby Bandung from Indonesia. What do you think about talented young people from outside joining into the Bollywood industry? How do you support them to develop and survive?
I think there's an immense amount of talent in the film industry
Mm.
currently. If you see the kind of work that's being done by some actors, even if it's their first film or web show, it's immense. And they actually, but if you look back at it, there's always been a lot of talent in the film industry. There have been wonderful actors that have come and done great work and continue to do great work. And at the end of the day, if you're good at your job, the audience is going to place you right here. It's as simple as that. There's no rocket science to it. My father has completed over 50 years in the film industry. He left his job in Kolkata, came, slept on Marine Drive for very many nights in his struggling days. And he's still working, obviously, yes, because there's that drive to do it, but also because he was good at what he did and the audience loved him for it. At the end of the day, I've always said this. I say this to everyone that I meet, anyone who asks, or anyone who's bothered to listen. That at the end of the day, we work for the audience. We make movies for our audience, and their acceptance and love is the most important thing for any actor. And if they accept you and if they love you, they will continue to ensure that you have films to make, because everything is driven by what the audience wants. That is the reality of the film industry. People can say what they want, but at the end of the day, the audience decides what they want to see, because they are buying that ticket. And when they buy that ticket, you owe them. You owe them entertainment, you owe them their money's worth. And they decide your fate and your future, and they're the only ones.
Amir from Germany. Are you disappointed that Dostana 2 isn't happening with John and yourself?
Uh, no, I'm not disappointed. I loved the Dostana that John and I did together. I'm presuming that the script didn't require a continuation. I believe it's a different script. It's just the title that's the same. And no, I'm not disappointed. No, Faridoon, it'll be very difficult to maybe do
Mm.
a sequel to John and My Dostana in that
Mm.
sense. I mean, the
Right.
cat's kind of out of the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you make a sequel to Dostana? I mean, the idea in that film was they both pretend to be a couple in order to live in an apartment with a single girl. That was the basic premise of Dostana. Now everybody knows, Priyanka's character uh, gets married to Bobby and moves out, and these two are. It's very clear that they're not a couple actually. They're heterosexuals. So it's kind of cat is kind of out of the bag. No? So
Mm.
it would have been very difficult to make a sequel to that. I feel. So I believe
Right.
I don't know what the script is, but I believe it's a different story.
This is Sachin Dodwad from Hubli,
I'm
Karnataka.
I'm I'm missing all our camera crew, by the way. But this is the first time we're shooting without them. I'm feeling very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Sachin Dodwad from Hubli, Karnataka. AB, when are you gonna do rap like Bluffmaster? We'll wait for it. Long time passed. No good rap song sung by an actor came across.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. I'll look into it. Maybe do something. Yeah, it's about time. I'm getting a bit itchy about that. Bluffmaster was 15 years ago. I think it's a high time we did something. I'm going to take
Right.
that as
So
a suggestion. Thank you.
this is Rahul Prasad. Sir, you wanted Farah to make Happy New Year 2. Can it happen anytime soon? Want to see you with SRK once again.
I'm ready. They just need to tell me they're making it and I'll be there. I don't need to hear the script, nothing. I love Farah and Shah Rukh, and whatever they ask me to do, I'm more than willing to do. I'm
Right.
absolutely ready.